Dr. Peter Gotzsche, welcome.
Thank you. I described this epidemic early on as an epidemic of panic more than anything else. And I am used to working with infectious diseases. There was very little science. It was almost all about politics. And part of the explanation for the panic is that no one will get in trouble for measures that are too draconian, only if it can be argued that what they did was too little. And it also gives power to those at the top to make these recommendations. The WHO contributed to the panic because they said the virus was very deadly and very contagious, and none of this is true. Now there is big panic in Denmark, although virtually no one dies from coronavirus. We test more than any other country in the world, and therefore we find more virus that doesn't matter. The number of hospital admissions for coronavirus has changed very little, but still the government is panicking. It has been tried to develop a coronavirus for 30 years, and people have not succeeded. And if you compare with influenza vaccines, then it has never been shown that they protect against infecting others, that they protect against hospital admission, that they protect against lung diseases, or that they protect against death. In contrast, we have highly effective vaccines, for example, against measles, smallpox, polio, that has saved millions of lives. So now it seems that coronavirus vaccines will be fast-tracked. This means that we will know much too little about the harms. And the European Union wants to give the companies legal immunity so that they will not be responsible for vaccine harms. I think this is a disaster because drug companies already function like organized crime. But previous cases with the drug industry has shown that when you get access to all the data, it looks very different from what the companies have published. So we suspect that European politicians have just given away public money to big companies without ensuring that everything will be transparent and can be checked by others. This is very strange because we have had the Tamiflu scandal. European governments, they bought Tamiflu for billions and billions. And Roche, the Swiss drug company, claimed that Tamiflu had a lot of positive effects like decreasing hospital admission, decreasing pneumonia, and such things that were simply not true. The British Medical Journal helped one of my colleagues put so much pressure on Roche. It took several years that finally they gave him the trial data. So what we know today about Tamiflu and Relenza is that they have an effect on par with paracetamol, a painkiller. There is no good reason to use these expensive drugs. So I have described in one of my books that Roche might have committed the biggest theft in European history. This is a horrible, horrible thought that you should vaccinate people without their informed consent. This has been done in the Philippines, where children were vaccinated against dengue virus without the parents' consent, and some children died. So there was a huge scandal, and there was corruption in the Ministry of Health. There was corruption at the prime minister level. It was an enormous scandal. We must ensure that no such thing ever happens in Europe. Let me say that we already have these fascism tendencies in Europe and in the United States, where you can be fired if you work in a hospital and don't want the flu shot.